Hello gorgeosities, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I'm okay. I'll be honest, I'm a bit pooped. I'm so tired, oh my goodness me. Is it the change in weather? Maybe. A lot in the last 10 days or so, I've been doing a lot of playing catch up. Garden home, dirt, friends, all that kind of stuff. I suppose months of, stress and tension. Never mind, I'm okay. And it's chucking down with rain, so I thought, you know what? Let's have a day at home. Let's carry on doing all that catch-up stuff. Really boring stuff like the accounts and da-da-da. But actually, let's have a sit down and let's have a natter. Yay! I love nothing more than a sit down and a natter. Pull up a chair or, who was it? It began with T. Was it Tracy? Tanya? Who said she was mopping her floors with me on in the background for company. So if you want to grab a mop and do your floors, why not? But whatever. Let's just kind of get together and have a natter, a chat. So this is going to be really eclectic today. There's all sorts of odds and sods I want to talk about. I've got a bit of newspaper in my lap. I've got props over here. But before we go any further, I want to say hello to a very special young lady, older girl, young lady. Yeah, a very special person indeed. This is hello to April. Hello, gorgeous. I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope you're snuggled up with mummy to watch this today. Thank you for the lovely words your mummy sent to me recently about you two. So yeah, hello, April. Come on, everybody, shout together. Everybody all over the world shout, hello, April. You're very special, April. Thank you for watching. Okay, so now for April and everyone else. Gosh, where to start today? Well, we're still kind of, it's supposed to be summer. We're having so many rain days, never mind. One of the things I love about summer, as you know, is my summer sports. So I've had my Wimbledon, I've had my Tour de France. Oh my goodness, they were both fantastic. I've got now, I'm just checking dates, the Athletics World Championships are at the end of August, yeah, starting on the 19th. In the meantime, I've got the World Cup, the Women's World Cup. You remember I was saying in a previous video about my friends who give me their old newspapers for the mind puzzles, and they gave me that pull out of Wimbledon. They've also given me the Women's World Cup pull out. So here I've got my, can you see me, mother? I've got my chart for writing in all the winners and all the matches and stuff. So the World Cup is on till the 20th of August. By the time you see this, we'll be well underway. I hope the Lionesses are doing okay. Now, the great thing about both the Women's World Cup and then when the athletics is on, so the World Championships this year are in Budapest. It's a 1 hour time difference. It's only 1 hour, so I'm going to get to see loads. The great thing is both the World Cup is, because it's in Australia and New Zealand, our coverage is really early in the morning. Some of it's in the dead of night, but there's quite a lot of it we can see between sort of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. 6 a.m. I don't do. Likewise with the athletics, the morning sessions will be on in the morning, and then the evening sessions will be, I think in UK time, 6 or 7 p.m. onwards. How brilliant. It's the most perfect timing for me because in the morning, I don't cope with the world. I don't want to know the world. I hate the world. I can't do it. So I can have on in the background, I can either be listening to the athletics or listening to the football. whilst doing the kind of work I do in the morning, which is quite often it's on the computer, or I'm making up parcels for the shop, or it's kind of the admin-y sort of computery stuff that I can do without having to talk to other people because I'm not good in the morning. Then, of course, a great swathe of time, a chunk of time in the afternoon when I can go to the allotment, for example, and then back from the allotment in the evening, more athletics whilst I'm doing whatever work it is I'm doing in the evening. So yay, absolutely brilliant. However, I have just checked out the times for the Vuelta, which is like the Tour de France, but it's the Tour de España. And that starts on the 26th of August through to the 17th of September. So that's going to be daytime. However, I don't know, unlike, say, with the Tour de France, I don't know that I can stream it for free. So I have checked. I can see highlights between 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening for free. So in other words, although I'm really sad that Wimbledon's over for another year, and I'm so sad that the tour is over for another year, the Tour de France, because it's been spectacular this year. Yeah, I'm gutted they're over, but I've still got a load more summer sport to come. Yay! And, more's the point, it fits around my schedule, i.e. I can still do 12, 14 hours of work in a day, but get to enjoy my sport. I'm trying to do that, yay, but I don't know what it is. Underneath my arm, it hurts. So it must have been something I did this weekend. Like I said, I'm trying to get caught up with myriad jobs. Cleaning, that's always, I always have to catch up on cleaning. But yeah, tons of stuff. I was all indoors, no gardening, so I'm not sure what that is, but I seem to have strained it and it hurts. It hurts so much. So I can do it on that side. Yay! So yeah, plenty of fantastic sport to come. Plenty of fantastic sport enjoyed. And I've got to say, my goodness gracious, through the Tour and Wimbledon, the combination of the two, they've been such great company, distraction. I don't know quite how to put it, but I was talking to my brother-in-law about it the other day, that the Tour in particular, because he cycles, you know, how many of our great cyclists have come from North Yorkshire? I mean, I know a ton have come from the Isle of Man, but North Yorkshire is a breeding ground for great cyclists, and he cycles. So it's lovely we've got that in common. We can chat about that, and yeah, it's a great distraction. And I was saying how much I've enjoyed it, because as I'm, you know, mostly I'm listening, but every now and again I stop to watch, and I'm so engrossed I forget everything else for a minute. It's been brilliant. Right, anyway, let's plough on. There's tons to get through today. I'm going to try and bring these books to you that I keep talking about. Because I do not want to forget this today. I want to say a big thank you to Michelle. I'm just going to take this up again because I popped it open. I don't want to bore everyone and go on and on about it for the rest of the year, so I won't. But yeah, just another thank you, because I've actually put all my cards away. There were so many cards from people, thank you. And I had the beautiful programme from my sister's funeral. So what I've done is I've gathered up all the cards, I've slotted them inside the funeral programme, and it's all tied up with a really beautiful ribbon, and it's in my treasures box. So thank you. But also a few of you sent gifts. Again, thank you so much. You know, even it's as simple as this, a train fare, because it's 150 quid up to my sisters. So thank you for helping with train fares. And then Michelle sent this, which is so lovely. So the company is called Gracie Goes Green, and you might remember last year she sent me some washcloths and some handkerchiefs. So she sent me some bubble bath, which is lovely, a soap, some Neal's Yard stuff, really lovely. And what I really love, and I'm now going to properly open this, it's UK, 75% UK produced wool. Fantastic. Some gorgeous hand knitted socks. Aren't they gorgeous and perfect? My colours so much. This sort of heather and grey and that sort of dark, moody sea sky blue. Oh, I love woolly socks. I absolutely adore them. I wear them all the time. Even to, I'm not going to lift my foot up. I've got a pair of woolly socks on today. Even though it's summer, it's quite chilly, and I go through them. I darn them and I darn them and I darn them again, but I do go through them. So the pair I've got on, I'm down to my last pair of woolly socks. So Michelle, that was a really beautiful present. And somehow there's something about the gift of socks that feels like, it's like a cuddle, isn't it? I should just have that on my, I really can't put this arm up. I don't know what I've done to it. But I was going to say, I should put it on my permanent Christmas list, shouldn't I? It should be just socks and soap. Very simple, girl. Socks, soap and seeds. Oh, they're not seeds because I saved my own. Right. Oh, so this is something I want to tell you about, talking to my sister. Right. So no. Okay, put sister aside for a second. Those of you who've been watching for a while, especially if you've watched the videos when I've been pressing, ironing. Yeah, I know I need a new iron. You may have noticed with my ironing board that it's like a blue check cover, but you don't really see much of it because over the top, I've got this wad of fabric that I always put over the top before I do my pressing, my ironing. That's because the top is worn out, it's stained, it's kind of water stained, and that leaches through if I press something that's white. The bottom line is I've needed a new ironing board cover for, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years, maybe a decade. Yeah, I've been needing a new ironing board cover forever. Now, I could go out and buy one. Of course I could, but I stopped myself from doing that because, for goodness sakes, I sew. That's what I do. I'm a sewer. I can't lift my arm. Scratch my head with that one. Make your own ironing board cover, Vivi, for goodness sakes. But of course, I just never get around to it. It's one of those things of time that I've mentioned before, that in terms of sewing, I rarely make anything for myself these days. I did a cushion cover a couple of years ago, but otherwise, yeah, I don't sew for myself because I don't have the time. If the sewing machine is out, I'm making something in order to sell it. Hand sewing I do for myself regularly when I'm repairing clothes, when, you know, a seam has popped or what have you. But yeah, I just don't get around to making this ironing board cover. And then about 6 weeks or so ago, I was in the local charity shop. I'm sorry, I'm having loads of slugs today. I've closed the windows against noise, closed the kitchen door because the washing machine's on. Hope you can't hear it. So I'm in this little box with no air. Dry mouth. Yeah, so I was in the charity shop. Hello, Ronnie Corbett. In the charity shop about 6 weeks ago, obviously looking at books. The books at the far end, the back end of the charity shop. Wandering through, and there's a little household linens section. I always look to see if there's anything like broken and stained stuff because they sell it cheaper. I'll buy it and I'll repurpose it, that sort of thing. And I saw an ironing board cover and it was still in its original packaging, brand new. I think the price on the packet said £8. Pattern wise, it wasn't offensive. It's like a sort of a pale O'Donnell background with some geese on it. And I thought, ironing board cover. Let's have it. So I grabbed it, wandering into the book section, and I'm thinking, oh, it was £4. So the charity shop wanted £4. Like I said, brand new, it was £8. And I was thinking, £4, Vivi, do you really need to spend £4? Because bear in mind, my income's been massively down and all that kind of stuff. Just make one, for goodness sakes. And as I was kind of mooching in the book section, I kind of wasn't even looking at the books. I was just holding this thing and thinking, can you justify spending £4? And I thought to myself, you know what? The fabric and the backing, the wadding, and then the kind of string that goes around it for tightening, that's going to cost more than £4. Plus, finding the time to do it. Let's say I could run it up in half an hour. What's my time worth? £2 an hour? That's kind of what I kind of rate myself, £2 an hour. So half an hour's work, that's £1. Fabric would be like £5 or £6. Just buy the blimmin' thing. Anyway, so I did. I bought the blimmin' thing. Got myself home, got the ironing board out, and I love my ironing board. It's fantastic. It's metal, it's really sturdy and strong. I think I was looking at, I noticed the other day, the brand is Brabantia, which is quite a good brand, isn't it? I got it secondhand years ago. Anyway, so I got it out, stood it up, ripped the old cover off, and I thought, yeah, put the new cover on. Oh, it looks gorgeous, it's great. Oh, it's padded, it's, oh, yay, brilliant. Put the ironing board away. I ain't using it. Thing is, I don't iron my clothes. You know, when they come off out of the wash, I shake them. Oh, listen, life's too short for clothes ironing. It would be different if I was going to work in a workplace. Obviously, I always ironed my nurses' uniforms. Of course I did. Kind of immaculate, whatever. Anyway, so I've put it away again because I'm not doing any sewing at the moment, although I'm hoping to get back to it. So I put it away. So that's like 6 weeks ago. Then, last week, I'm scowling now because I've lost track of time. I think it might have been at the end of the week before. Anyway, it was the night before my sister's funeral, and I got all my bits and bobs. So I was going to go there and back in a day. It was going to be a really long day, door to door, because actually the crematorium isn't in the town that she used to live in. It's a much further bit on the train. I knew that each way from my front door to the crem was going to be about 6 hours, if not a bit more. So a total of, it was slightly over 12 hours travel on that one day, which meant me getting up at 5 a.m. Anyway, so the night before I was trying to get everything ready, thinking I don't want to be in a rush in the morning. I don't want to be thinking about anything. I just want to be able to go. And okay, I might get a bit weepy in a second, but then I'll stop. So anyway, the night before, I had picked my outfit, and it was definitely not a black funeral. It was definitely summer. It was a summer funeral. So I'd already coordinated with cousins and friends and other people. We were all going to be wearing summer frocks, flowery dresses, and I just had this lovely image in my mind that this would be a congregation of, it would look like a wildflower meadow. Just everybody in their flowery frocks. Lovely. Anyway, so the night before, I've got my outfit ready, I've got everything ready, and I'm thinking, right, you know, go to bed in a minute. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to iron my dress. I'm going to iron my dress for once, because my sister was always so immaculately dressed. Always. I mean, my sister was always the pretty one anyway. My sister was like a doll, you know, a proper, beautiful porcelain doll. there's nothing out of place. And it wasn't that she spent forever on her appearance. I don't think she could care less either, but she just had that knack of, she just had a knack of always looking just perfect. I hate her. She's just perfect. I always look like I've been dragged through a hedge and had a fight with 17 scarecrows and then been run over by a truck and had a carton of compost dumped all over me. And she looks like she's walking onto a movie set handing out the most perfect little sweeties to people. Anyway, so I thought in her honour I'm going to iron my frock. And then I suddenly thought, oh, how perfect. I'm going to christen the new ironing board cover with ironing for my sister. Yay! Isn't that perfect? So I dragged the ironing board out, set it up, go in the kitchen, get the iron, bring it out here, plug the iron in, let it start warming up, go to the wardrobe, get my dress out, and it's linen. And it's been dry and in the wardrobe for however long. And I kind of scooch it onto the ironing board and I'm going, ooh, nice ironing board cover, ooh, squeegee. And then I think, actually, I'm going to go and get my water spritzer because it's linen. You know what linen is like when it's dry. So I go in the kitchen, grab my water spritzer, great. Got the water spritzer, oh, my iron's nice and hot now, brilliant. Spritz. Ironing. As I'm ironing, I'm thinking of my sis and thinking of all her gorgeous dresses because she had a really, really lovely collection of dresses. And like I said, she's always so immaculate. And tons of them. Oh, I'm so jealous of this as well. Great charity shop finds. When we went to France, it was 2017, every day she had a different frock on. She wore a frock every day. Apart from on my actual birthday when we had our cycling day, she nearly killed me. Every day she wore a frock, different frock every day, and they were all gorgeous. And every day I would go, oh my God, sis, that dress, I love it. Who's it by? Where's it from? And they were all charity shop finds. But they were all her favourite brands of like Bowden and sea salt and white stuff and all that. But they would be like, oh, I got this one for £8. What? It's an £80. Anyway, so I'm ironing and I'm thinking about all the beautiful dresses she's worn, and I'm thinking about all my feelings of jealousy and inadequacy that she's so pretty and I'm so galumphy and never mind, turn the dress, iron a bit more, to spritz, iron a bit more. Now, those of you who've been watching for a while will know that I need a new iron as well. So my iron is 34 years old. I bought it when I left home when I was 18, so it's 30 something years old. And the cord has been fraying and I keep wrapping it up in electrical tape and trying to make it last because it's really heavy. I love the weight of it. And you might think, a heavy iron, isn't that more work? No, it's less work. The iron does it because it's so heavy. It does the work for me. And a number of years ago, I was in one of those big electrical shops. It was Curry's PC World. I was having my computer fixed. While they were fixing things, I was just wandering around the shop looking. I looked at food blenders. What else? I can't remember what else I looked at, but I did look at the irons. Oh, I got a shock, first of all, at the price, like £100 for an iron. Are you joking? Are you mad? But what I was really disappointed by was they all felt really plasticky and flimsy and lightweight, and I don't know, I didn't like any of them. They didn't feel as kind of snug and solid. My iron's quite small, and some of these irons, they're like these massive, like bigger than a shoebox. and not much heavier and not much sturdier. So I remember having a look at them all and thinking, no, I am definitely going to make mine last a bit longer because these are all hideous things. Anyway, so back to ironing my frock. Spritz, spritz, spritz. The iron's on the end. And I go spritz, spritz, spritz. And one bit of spritz, there must have been one little bit of the electrical wire exposed on the iron because spritz, 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 bang! My iron went bang. I had the fright of my life. Bang is maybe the wrong word. I was trying to describe this with Paul earlier. It was more like pop. It was like pop bang. But it went boom. And then right where the cord, like if this is the iron itself, you know where the cord comes in at the bottom, it's like that's the iron standing up, the cord comes in. Right there it went in a flame. It's like this flame went, I was like, oh my God. Like in a split second, I just dived over to the wall, pulled the plug out, grabbed a cushion off the sofa because I thought I was going to have to turn around and smother a fire. Grabbed the cushion, turned round, and then the little flame went and disappeared to nothing. So I picked the iron up, which was now not on fire. I took it into the kitchen and put it in my sink because it's a Belfast sink, butler sink. I think you call it in America farmhouse sink. It's a deep ceramic sink. So I put the iron in there because I thought, well, at least the sink's not flammable. Even though there was no flame anymore, but I was like, I don't know what to do. Just put it in there. Sat on the sofa and just let my heart rate come back to some semblance of normal. And then I just started laughing my head off. I was laughing my head off because I was kind of laughing and crying because it's the kind of occasion where I would have picked up my phone and called my sister and said, oh my God, you'll never guess what just happened. I'm ironing a dress to come and see you and my blooming iron's just blown up. So I had that little moment of calm down, laughing, crying, what have you. And after a few minutes, it was like, okay, well, you know what? It's a linen dress, 6 hours on a train, a tube, a train, another train, and a car lift. It's going to be pretty crumpled. No one's going to notice. No one's going to care. So I hung the frock up. And then I went to put the ironing board away. And here's the thing. my brand new ironing board cover, my first brand new ironing board cover in, 15 years, christened that day, has now got black, sooty singe mark on the end of it. I looked at it, I was like, I can't keep anything clean for 5 minutes. And I was thinking, if I had called my sister and told her about it, I know exactly what she'd say. I know exactly what face she would do. She would do that half smile. You remember that half smile I told you about? That's her, oh, shut up, sis, smile. She would do that. She'd roll her eyes and she'd say, oh, only you. So, yeah. I've got a new ironing board cover, but it's black and singed. It's only right on the end, the bit that sits next to the little metal stand where you put your iron. It's just the end, so it won't affect my ironing. I don't need to change it or get a new one. But I do need to get a new iron. I mean, for goodness sakes, come on. A thought did occur to me later. I'm going to try not to get weepy now, but a thought did occur to me later that my sis was up there watching down on me as I was ironing, kind of going, oh God, I'm dressed because my sister always had nice dresses, and laughing at me. And then laughing at my iron blowing up. And then I also thought later on, if I'd put my hand on that bit of cable I'd have been electrocuted. So thank goodness I spritzed water onto it and blew it up instead. So maybe, just maybe, my sister guided that bit of water spritz onto the cable to blow the iron up to save me from putting my hand on it. I've composed myself again. You know what? A bit stop-starty, and that's okay. It's okay, because I think this is how things are going to be for a while. I don't necessarily want to be doing this on camera every time, but if it happens, it happens. There's no apologies. I feel, therefore I am. Anyway, so books. I might not get them both done, we'll try. So, I told you it was going to be a bit of all sorts. There's going to be all sorts of other stuff too, but I didn't realise how long I would talk about a blooming ironing moment for. Anyway, so I had this book sent to me by Veronica. Yay! Now, I read this in May. I was just looking, I have a little, I keep a record. I haven't always done it, but recently I've started doing it. I keep a record of what I've read, as in title, author, the date, but also if it was a book from someone else, if someone else recommended it, I make a note of who recommended it or who gave it to me. It's nice, isn't it? I'm going to have, for this shop, I'm not sure if they'll be in by the time you see this, I've got 2 books to put in there, which are books for keeping records of books you've read. One's modern and fun and quirky, and the other one is, well, it's an antique because it's from the late 20s, early 30s. If it's 100 years, it's an antique. Anyway, yeah, I digress. So, yeah, Veronica sent this to me. It was from, let me just remember again, it's in Hertfordshire, the bookshop called, quick, scan it, Vivi. It's a book. It's called David's Bookshop in Letchworth Garden City. I did mention it at the time, but I'm going to mention it again because it seems like a really great bookshop. So if you're in Letchworth Garden City, go into David's Bookshop and say, "Hi, I heard about you from Veronica and Vivi." So, The Barn Club by Robert Somerville. Couldn't wait to read this. Loved it. The subtitle is A Tale of Forgotten Elm Trees, Traditional Craft and Community Spirit. So one of the big things in the UK, and also I know it's in Europe as well, we had a disease that struck the UK in the early 70s. Yeah, it must have been the early 70s. Dutch elm disease. Wiped out so many of our elms. Sorry, I might have to do a bit of trying to grasp and remember, because it was May when I read it. I remember Dutch elm disease being in the news, so I must have been 5 or 6 at the time that it struck the UK. I remember it being on the news. I remember the grown-ups talking about it. And I remember one very specific occasion when, so my grandparents were living up in the village in Langton, in Dorset. So 2 miles down the valley, you get to Swanage, the town that's by the sea. But up and over the cliffs, you get into the next bay, which is Studland Bay, which is a great, long, sweeping, God, it's gorgeous. But right at this end is a kind of a more secluded part of the beach that the tourists don't go to. It's off the beaten track. It was our beach. It always felt like our beach. Very private, very secluded, lovely, really overhung with trees. And to get to the beach, you go down a little chine there's a little river runs alongside, completely overgrown with trees, and you feel like you're on this sort of adventure through a jungle. You have to beat through the jungle, and then there's this beautiful, beautiful beach with white sand, blue water, gorgeous. So it was always like, you know, every time we were at our grandparents, we would try and have at least one day down at this particular end of Studland Beach. And Grandad would take us over in the car, and the old VW Love Bug, chug, 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 chug. There's that distinct sound of a VW engine, isn't there? And the distinct smell inside there of the leatherette, whatever it's called, seats on a hot day. So we chug, chug, chug up over the cliffs onto the other side. And then where the car would be parked, it was up near the churchyard. So there'd be a bit of a walk down the road, pretty much a single road, like a road for cars. And then we'd get to that little track through the trees down to the beach. But the walk down the road, even before we got to the track, it almost trees touching either side. To me, it's the kind of, it's the perfect essence of West Country lanes, where it's not hedges that have been cut down, but trees, where they end up meeting each other above. So you go into this lovely shady tunnel of the trees and this dapple green, dark green light at the height of summer. And I remember it so clearly, that one occasion we were going to go to Studland. We parked up at the church, all got out of the car, all carrying a little bag. Someone's got a bag of sarnies, someone's got a bag of towels, someone's got a bag with a ball and the quoits and all the other little bits and bobs we play with in the sea, to head off on our little march, our route march down to the beach. And I remember coming around that corner, and it was light. It was completely light, because of course all the trees had gone. They were all gone, all chopped down. I didn't understand the magnitude or the importance of it. All I knew was that this special place, this magical walk, for me as a child, it was magical to walk under all these huge, beautiful trees. This magical thing had gone, and it was just stark, bare summer sunshine. And we're walking down the road, and I can hear my mum is obviously talking with my nan and granddad about the fact that all the elm trees had been cut down. And I just remember this feeling of sadness that someone had taken my magic away, but overhearing grown-ups talking, and I couldn't really hear what they were talking about, but I could hear their tone of voice. They were talking about something that was really serious and really sad. I've never forgotten that. It haunts me to this day. I know it's only trees, but that one moment in time where grown-ups were sad and serious and my magic was destroyed and taken away. Elm trees. So, sorry, goodness, where we go in our minds, eh? So, Barn Club. And it's all about our elm trees and building from elm. So about the first third of the book, I found a little bit turgid. I found it it's a lot, it's very information dense, and it's about trees and the different species of elm, and about Dutch elm, and it might have been my state of mind at the time that I didn't have high concentration at that time. This was back in May. But yeah, the first third of the book I didn't care for too much. I think I'll reread it though. But then we get to building the barn. Sorry, excuse me. I really feel like I need a whole bucket of water. Yeah, then we get to the building of the barn. And what I've loved, it's very, I'm going to see if I can find it. It's very highly illustrated. So we've got lots of illustrations all the way through. So it's a wonderful I mean, it's not, sorry, I flashed that too quickly, didn't I? It's not a how-to build a barn guide, but it's definitely, sorry, I've just got lost. Oh, and there's tons of photos, so at all the different stages of the build. Oh, and I should also say it's volunteers. It's all volunteers, that's why it's Barn Club. So they had a couple of leaders who were experienced and who were guiding them. So it's not a how-to guide, but it's a how they did guide, if you like. And I loved it because I did already know quite a bit about barn building. It's something that's always fascinated me and interested me. I watch TV documentaries about it. My cousin Ben, he's a green oak barn builder. That's what he does as a profession, for goodness sakes. My cousin does it. He's a barn builder. I just want to do it myself in another life. So a lot of it was kind of a confirmation of things I knew. That was great. But what was really magical about it, there were I was going to say a few bits. There were quite a lot of bits and bobs in the actual intricacy of, say, the joint making that I'd never quite understood. This book simplifies the whole. It makes it so clear how everything's done. Plumb bob squaring. I've always understood plumb bob squaring in 2 dimensions, but I'd never understood how it was done in the 3rd dimension. Got it straight away in the chapter on plumb bob squaring. What a great book. I'm going to hit myself in the face. What an absolute joy of a read, of a community coming together, learning skills. This is the thing that none of these people had ever done anything like this before. The essence of this book is community, learning skills, and learning skills which will go on forever. They transcend our modern age. They transcend AI and tech and all that. This is basic stuff, building shelter, learning with our bare hands to build shelter. I loved it. So much of it was about sustainability, of course, I love that. It was all done with hand tools. And what's lovely throughout it is, I've made notes. Slow. There are little diary extracts, so everyone in the Barn Club kept a diary of their experience, and some of those bits of diary are used as snippets throughout the book. And one of the ones that I really loved was they were talking about the fact that because it was all hand built with hand tools, because there's no power tools on site, when you're using a hammer and chisel, you can hear someone else's voice. You can have a conversation. If you're using a power tool, you can't have a conversation. It's simple as that. So these people who met and formed friendships, formed relationships, shared knowledge, shared joy, shared experience, talked about things outside of the barn and shared those joys and experiences too. It was all possible because it was being done by hand. And because it was being done by hand, it was done slowly. But again, because it was done slowly, it made time for those relationships and friendships to develop and grow. So the whole book, in a way, is a lesson. It's not about building a barn, but it's about building community, building relationships, doing things slowly, really relishing the moment, and loving the moment for what it is. Yes, there's an end goal, but let's not focus too much on the end goal. Let's be in the here and now, and let's see who is that person standing next to me with a chisel and hammer. Let's get to know them. Let's get to know the wood that I'm working with. Let me get to know my own hands. What are my own hands capable of? Oh, loved it. Yes, so I wrote down 3 words at the top of my little note page. I said sustainability, traceability, accountability. Oh, and the other thing that came from the diaries, just before I finish up, was that joy of being outside. And that's, I mean, it's flipping obvious, isn't it, from my garden videos. I love to be outside. Not because I want to hike up Helvellyn or, because I want to do the Southwest Coast path. There's no chance of that. I just want to be outside. I want air. I want sunshine. I want bird song. I want to see the stag beetle on a route march through my grass. I just want to be outside. I want to be using these. I want to be using this to connect with that person. I want to be slow and in the moment, because God knows, we just don't know, do we? This moment right now might be our last. So let's blooming make the most of it. Stop projecting. Be in today. I think that's enough. There was one more book. I will tell you about it quickly. I'll go really, really quickly with this one. So do you remember a few months ago I read that book called The Man Who Made Things from Trees? And it was all about an ash tree that was cut down and he made it into a gazillion different objects. Brilliant. Then I read Barn Club, thank you Veronica, and it's all about elm trees. This book I bought it for the shop, but crikey, it was expensive. So I thought, I'm going to have a read first, because it is from an author who is quickly becoming a favourite. It's by John Lewis Stemple. And if you remember, I read his book Meadowland at the end of last year. It was my book of the year. And then, who sent it to me? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's in my notebook, Cock Shut Wood. And then I saw this by him and I thought, I've got to have it for my shop. The Glorious Life of the Oak. But because I paid a lot for it, I had it in my pile waiting to photograph and put in the shop. I thought, I'm going to have a quick read. It's a very slight, little, teeny tiny book. So yes, Ash, Elm, Oak. It's a really sweet little book. It's very snippety. It's a very kind of, I don't know if I can give you a sense of it, but yeah, it's like little snippets, little illustrations. It's a sort of little bits of history. Oh, the chapters, the oak in British history, then the life cycle of the oak as medicine, food and drink, Britain's mightiest oaks, and then the oak in folklore, myth and legend. So it's like a little dip-in book. It's cute as pie. It's really lovely. There's, like I said, there's that little section on the mightiest oaks. It's got addresses of oaks you can go and visit if you're in the UK. It's gorgeous. It might have been this. Do you remember I was talking about the jays planting the oaks in my garden by planting the acorns? It might have been this where I read it. Can't remember now. But it's been absolutely gorgeous. So this is going into my shop. Barn Club, I might put it in the shop, but on the other hand, I've got a friend that I think will like it. So, and you know what? It was a gift to me from Veronica. So if I do put it in this shop, I will, the entire cost will go to Macmillan. If I don't put it in the shop, there's a friend of mine who I think will really like it. Oh, and also to come full circle, because remember I was talking about ironing my dress for the funeral. At the funeral, I had a nice, well actually my cousin Ben gave me a lift back to the station later in the day. And I was talking about this book to him and about the joints, and I said, I finally understand plumb bobbing in 3 dimensions. And he was like, finally. So yeah, it's a nice full circle, that, isn't it? Everything in my life comes together eventually. Yay. All right, lovelies. I think, yes, let's call it a day there. I'm just going to go, I don't know, massage my arm or something. It is bothering me chronically. What are we doing next? Not sure. I think, yeah, let's get back to the garden. If the rain ever stops, fingers crossed we don't get black. Yeah, so if the rain stops anytime soon, let's get back to the garden and do some being in the garden. All right, lovelies, until then, please look after yourselves, look after each other, and look after the trees in your neighbourhood. They need us too. Cheerio.